Titanic. The unsinkable ship that met an untimely end on its maiden voyage. Most of us know the story: an iceberg, a tragic loss of life, and a maritime disaster that shook the world. But what if I told you there's more to this tale than icy waters and bad luck? What if the Titanic was sunk on purpose? Buckle up, folks, because this rabbit hole goes deep. J.P. Morgan, the man who dominated American finance in the early 20th century. Morgan owned the White Star Line, the company that built the Titanic, and who opted to cancel his trip at the last minute, claiming illness. J.P. Morgan. Coincidence? Maybe. But let's keep digging. The Titanic wasn't White Star Line's only ship. It had a twin, the Olympic. In 1911, the Olympic collided with a Royal Navy warship, the HMS Hawke, causing severe damage. The White Star Line faced massive repair costs, and insurance wouldn't cover it because the Olympic was deemed at fault. What if they swapped the ships? Some researchers argue that the Titanic we know was actually the damaged Olympic, rebranded and sent to sea as part of an elaborate insurance scam. Think about it, both ships were nearly identical. Slight modifications, some new paint, and who's going to know the difference? Now, let's talk passengers. The Titanic carried some of the wealthiest men of its time, including John Jacob Astor, Benjamin Guggenheim, and Isidor Straus. These men were outspoken critics of the creation of a central bank, the Federal Reserve. Conveniently, they didn't survive the sinking. J.P. Morgan, a staunch supporter of the Federal Reserve, was safely on shore. Funny how that works. In 1913, just a year after the Titanic disaster, the Federal Reserve Act was signed into law. With Astor, Guggenheim, and Straus out of the way, opposition to the Federal Reserve weakened. Morgan and his allies got what they wanted: centralized control over the US monetary system. And what about the iceberg? Survivors reported seeing strange lights in the sky and feeling unusual vibrations before the collision. Some speculate the ship's demise wasn't natural at all. Was the iceberg just a cover story for sabotage? And what kind puts hits an iceberg with stakes this high? The Titanic tragedy is a story of hubris and heartbreak. Or is it? Was it an accident, or was it a calculated move by powerful men to reshape the world? You decide.